The whole world, everything you're going to accomplish in life, everything is coming from your way of thinking. And your way of thinking is all coming from patterns of the past. Emotions that you've felt over and over and over again, that's come from thoughts you've had over and over and over again. And that came from stuff you heard when you were growing up. It came from traumatic experiences that you've had. It came from amazing experiences that you've had. It's your wiring has gotten you so far in your life, and there's always room to grow and to make it even better. There's always room to learn how to wire yourself to be more confident, more on point, more relaxed when you talk to people that you want to make an impression on, right? There's always ways of becoming more and more. There's always ways of making yourself more valuable in the world so that you're worth more money. If you're not making very much money, if you're broke, you've wired yourself to be in that situation today. And it's hard to hear. It's like, no! These things happen to me, and then I had to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And what I want to say is just be open to that concept, because the only way that you can change yourself is if you actually are open to it, which means, okay, let me just try everything on, and then see what value you can take from it. Like, you don't have to agree with everything I'm saying today, but just listen to it and see what value you can take from it, and that way you can grow. And the only way that anybody gets anywhere in life is if they're like, well, I've got to be responsible for everything in my life. My relationship, how my relationship turns out, how my relationship is with the person I'm with right now, how my relationship is like with my parents, with my friends, with my career, with my bank account, everything. If you take responsibility for everything, then you have, what does that mean? Now you have the ability to actually impact it, move it, affect it. Like, if your relationship is not great, you're like, oh, I'm not going to be like all loving and nice when they treat me like this. Well, if it's like, then it's like what is the relationship? The relationship is like, well, I'm not going to do this if he's not going to do that. And I've asked him this many times to do this, and he keeps doing that, so it just pisses me off. And so then you're spending your life in a state of frustration, and you're with a person that you say is like your relationship, and then you do things like try to make him feel guilty and try to show how upset you are. And what we don't realize is what we're actually creating. We're always creating our lives all the time. And if you have a vision for your relationship, I'll talk relationships right now because it all goes together. I mean, everything is related to each other. You've got a great relationship, usually you have a great career, usually you feel like you're at effect of your life. You can do shit. You feel good when you talk to people. You feel powerful. It's all related to each other. You feel love for yourself, then you do better in your career. You do different in you do better in your relationship. I mean, not better. You do great. Let's not even talk about better. Let's talk about ideally what we want in our lives. I mean, like, really, what is your vision for all parts of your life? Just start thinking about it. I'm not going to talk about that too much today, but we typically just kind of go through and go like, I'm just trying to survive. What's the vision? Well, I want to make a bunch of money. I want to work in the film industry. I want to have a car. I want to have a mansion. I want to live by the ocean. I want to be able to vacation in France. And then as you're saying all that stuff, you're like, part of you is going, God, I'm just telling myself a lie. Yeah, I'm never going to make it. Yeah, that's just bullshit. And what I want us to do, and my whole work, the reason why I do all this work is because, no, that's not bullshit. Of course you can create all that stuff. Of course you can. But you have to start working on yourself right now and rewiring yourself so that you become the person that will have all that. Like you say, attract all that. But it's more than just like attract it. It is like you're creating it. You know? It's like you look at producers and directors that I work with all the time. I just worked yesterday. You saw my pictures in Yammer, right? These are very high-performing individuals. They're really likable, positive, creative. When they're speaking, they're using good words, and they're communicating with people in a very high-level way. Not like high-level talk, like nobody can understand them, but just like on point, on point. So were they born that way? I think that perhaps 1% of the population is born that way. But not me, that's for sure. I know that I've created who I am. I had to work so hard on myself to get to where I'm at today and to get to who I'm at in my head today. I had to rewire myself. If you had met me like when I was 16, 17, 18, you would probably not even like me very much. I had such low self-esteem about myself, and because of that, interestingly enough, I was so arrogant, selfish. Yes, do you know why? Because the more you focus on yourself because you think there's something wrong with you, the more you are focused on yourself, the more pain you are in, and you become obsessed with yourself, and you are not out there actually creating value in the world because you're just so in such pain yourself. So I will never judge anybody for like the stuff they say, like, yeah, but you know, whatever they say, if they're assholes, I will still never judge them. They are just in such pain, and they're also at this point in their life where it's just, that's just how they're expressing themselves, but they are in such pain, and that's why they will be like that with other people, you know? And it's a very lonely place to be. I know, because I lived that. And I'm so grateful that I lived that, because then I can talk about it and really understand what's going on. Because I know that a lot of you guys, and you know, a lot of us, because a lot of you guys are in your 20s and 30s, you're going through all of this stuff. And you're either cementing patterns in your brain that's going to lead to a crappy life, and I'm serious about that. It's like nobody wants to hear that. You're like, I'm doing the best I can. Well, be open to this, because you look at your thoughts, and it's either all these thoughts, or you're cementing in and wiring them in, and then you're going to have them again and again and again, and you're going to feel more and more frustrations and sadness and depression and anxiety. You're wiring that. If you're already living there, you're wiring that. You're doing it, which is good, because then you're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. You never probably thought about it. I'm doing that. I'm actually doing that. Once you see that you're doing it, and when I say doing it, it's awesome, because it's like, if you're doing it, then you cannot do it. You know, let me give you an example of doing it. Okay, so say everybody right now, and kind of sit up a little bit. I can see some people like this, kind of sit up a little bit. Everybody right now, think about what you're like when you start feeling disempowered, kind of depressed, kind of bummed. Now, everybody go in that state. You're being kind of depressed, bummed. Now, notice, what are you thinking about to get yourself bummed? What are you thinking about to get yourself? What are you focusing on to get yourself kind of bummed? I'm never going to make it. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know. This is like such a big goal, and I've never done anything like this. My parents don't believe in me. I don't know. It's probably not true, but you know, I've got no evidence that I can do it. Okay. But whatever you focus on is what counts. I mean, my examples doesn't matter. Whatever you focus on to get yourself depressed, stay in that depressed state, stay in there. Okay, notice what you focus on. Now notice the look on your face now. Is it slack or is it tight? It's probably slack, right? Notice the look in your eyes, kind of down, not sparkly, kind of like dull. Notice where your shoulders are right now as you're being in this like disempowered state. Notice how your breathing is. Is it shallow or is it full and strong? Probably shallow, right? Notice how your voice sounds when you're kind of bummed. Yeah, how does your voice sound? Kind of weak. Okay, now shake that state off, shake it off. Okay, everybody shake it off? Okay, good. Now put yourself in an empowered state, a certain state, like you fucking rock state, okay? You in it? You guys into that now? Yeah, see how fast you did it? You did it in a second. You guys look like completely different people now. Yeah, now look at what your face looks like when you're in this state. What are your eyes like when you're in this state? Oh, are they sparkly? Are they alive? What's your face like? Oh, it's smiling, it's tight, it's just like, oh, powerful state. Yes, right? How do you move your body when you're in this state? Yeah. How do you breathe when you're in this state? Deep breaths, right? Deep breaths. What are your movements like when you're in this state? I mean, they're probably kind of fast. They're kind of like, yes, there's certainty, right? So this is how you do depression. This is that. So you did depression, you did it very well. And then you did empowered, and you did it very well. You did it in a second. You went from one to the other in a second. So you're always doing it. Now this right here that we just demonstrated, this is a breakthrough for a lot of people because it's just like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was doing it. I have done this training with people, so many people in our program, in the actual mentorship program. And Jessica's one of them. She was practicing patterns of being depressed. She's like, I don't want to be like my mom. And therefore she'd get angry and then she'd be more like her mom. And she'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. It fucks your mind up, right? I mean, you're just like, you be how you don't want to be. And you're just like, I'm just so confused, but I just know that my emotions are like freaking anxiety and depression. I don't know how to get out of it. Well, notice what you're doing. Notice on what you're focusing on. Notice what's happening to your body. Because your body is the fastest way to get out of it. Like, you do this. It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah. You got to work really hard to be depressed right now. You know? Everybody do this right now. Snap your fingers. And now, say to yourself, I'm so depressed. I'm so bummed. I'm so disempowered. You're like, all you go is you just go, bullshit. Yeah, bullshit. So, next time you go into a meeting, an audition, you meet somebody that you need to make an impression on, you're going to start a Skype interview for something, you know, use your body to get yourself in a great state. Use the body. The body will do it. So when the body's like this, you just say, I can't perform badly. In fact, I'm just going to be pretty spontaneous and it's going to be okay. I'm really kind of be myself, and I'm going to have, when you're in this state, you're going to have the right thoughts. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about exactly what to say. You're just like, hey, I'm just being, yeah. This is very good stuff to practice, you know? Practice whatever you keep wiring yourself for, that's how you're going to be. That's who you're going to become. So that's what I say. Your life is either a warning or it's an inspiration. That's a Tony Robbins quote. Everybody's life is either a warning or an inspiration. It really starts to show up. 40s, 45, 50s, oh. By the time you're my age, which is 51, you can see people that have been practiced the way of thinking, and now they've got not that much money in their bank account, the relationships are not very good, and they are pretty much living in states, emotional states, that is not joy. They're living in anxiety, depression, not feeling that they're in effect of their life, where they could change it all. You can change it all. So that's the most important thing you can learn. It's called emotional fitness. Emotional fitness. It's the most important thing that you can do in your entire life because it will attract the money. It'll attract the people. It'll attract the friends. It'll attract the opportunities, you know, because everybody wants to work with the best people. I mean, we're talking the film industry, the top jobs in the world. It's the most attractive, exciting, best thing you could do in your life. To get paid or to travel around the world, to go to events, to work with interesting people. I mean, to make this kind of money, very high paying when you work. I make $2,000 a day. Yesterday, I got a call to work today and tomorrow. And it was for $750 a day. And I turned it down. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I always turn, my line is $1,000. If it's less than $1,000, I just refer somebody else. Yeah, you know, that's a lot of money, but I used to making a lot of money, and I've created this situation. And you create what you say yes to, you create what you say no to, and you're fine with it, and I'm fine with it. You're going to learn how to do this too. Yeah, $2,000 a day, sometimes more. Like the last job I did, I made $3,000 in one day. I'm just seeing the comment here. I do sound. I'm a sound mixer. I love what I do. I'm the head of my department for sound. So whenever you see camera department, I'm the head of the sound department. And I love it. I never thought that I would do sound. It's like, growing up, I didn't even care about sound. I didn't care about music. I didn't care about any of that stuff. You know, I just wanted to make money. I just wanted to have a great life and travel around the world when I was growing up. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want, because I didn't want to end up like my family. And so, you know, when you're motivated when you're younger. Okay, so the thing is that what I do, I love, because I love to talk. I love to have, when I'm on set, talk to the producer, the director, the DP. I love being a head of a department. I love doing something technical and doing it well, but it's not that, I'm not going to say it's that hard, but it's not like I'm not consumed by it the entire day where I can't be even thinking about anything else. It's like you do it, and then, so my point in telling you this is just that what you think you want to do in the film industry, you may find that for your personality, there's a lot of other jobs that you can do that are totally a great fit for you and that you never considered. So just keep that in mind, because I would never have chosen sound. But it turns out it's not doing the sound that I love to do. I love doing that, but I love the conversations. I love the way, the flow of it. I love the opportunities for travel. I love that I got to that Emmy and I got to go to National Geographic, travel all over the world, and sound gave me that. If I had chosen a different one, I don't know, like camera, it's a little bit different. Then you're working all day long with the cameras. There's never a moment to relax. Same thing with director, same thing with producer. You know, you're on the entire day. With what I do, I'm on, but then I can relax for a while and have some great conversations. It just suits me. And plus, I'm a woman in a department. It's all men. That's all pretty much. I was the only woman for like 15 years. I trained some other women. Now they're doing it. So I'm different. So that's something to consider too. I mean, whenever you're different, people remember you. But it's mostly how you make people feel. It's mostly like, if they feel empowered with you around, then you're going to get hired. This is a good point, you guys. See, this is why you have to practice the emotional fitness, because that's what everybody's attracted to with me. That's it. It's how I wired myself to be, and to not be all about myself, but to be about them and helping them, not in like I'm helping you, in a way of interacting that it just makes them feel good, empowered, able to do their job. Because believe me, the producers and the directors and all the people that hire you, they're under tremendous pressure. And all of the things that you're thinking and worried about yourself, they're thinking these same things. They're like, oh, I don't know if these people like me. I don't know if the executives like me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to communicate with this without pissing them off. I hope that I get hired on the next job. Oh man, that mistake just happened and we're 2 hours behind. I hope that doesn't mean that they're going to not use me next time. Oh, don't think that. Okay, but they're doing the same stuff. So emotional fitness allows you to center, and you just know, hey, I know I'm giving these people what they need, and the conversations are good, and it takes a while to create this, you know. It takes experiences, it takes a lot of personal like reflection and studying this stuff, you know. So I already know that a lot of you guys are already on this path. You're already doing this. Yes, I can tell by the way your comments in Yammer, you're already thinking like this. And I just want to tell you, you're doing the right thing. It's so good. That inner strength is going to get you a great career and a great life, really. Okay, all right, so we're gonna dance. Oh, 123 people, that might be a record breaker. I got a good song. Now, of course we're gonna dance, you know why? Because we put ourselves in a great state. It's part of wiring ourselves. And if you're like, oh, I don't feel like it right now, and I don't wanna do that, well, and most of you don't feel like that, but, so you gotta take off your headphones when you do this, but not quite yet. Dancing is a way to just wire your body to feel good. Feel good, because when you wire your body and you feel good, then you have different thoughts, you have different ways of, you have different emotions in your body. And you're knocking out and you're actually changing all the little cells in yourself that are like anxiety or worry, or you're actually knocking those out and you're changing them. It's amazing. So when you dance, you actually experience the emotions you want to feel, like excitement, like enthusiasm, like love, like sexy, like playful. Playful's a good one. Like curious. Oh, I'm curious, dancing curious. Power. I have powers, like I have the ability to impact my life. That's power, 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 power. So when you dance, actually wire your body in, because it happens in your head, but your body is where you feel it. Like you have a thought in your head, but where do you feel it, right? You have the thought in your head and you're like, oh shit, I feel like I'm getting anxious now. Where do you feel it? Right in your body. Your body is your unconscious mind. boom, that's where you're feeling it. Ha ha ha, the body. Oh, now I'm really anxious, right? I could explain this so well because, believe me, I've lived all of this stuff. Okay, still do, but then I just knock it on out using my body. Use my body and knock it out. I'm like, oh, Janet, that's just your thoughts again. Just your thoughts. Don't listen to them. You know? I know you guys understand what I'm talking about. So this is why we dance, because we knock in good emotions that we want to feel in our body, and then we can do freaking anything. I mean, if you can put yourself in a great state and you know you can bring it, my God, you've just got the power to create anything in your life, right? I mean, you can do anything. I don't care if you got debt. I don't care if you live in wherever. You still are going to be able to figure it out, and you're going to be able to have a great life. Okay, everybody stand up. You can take off your headphones now. This is awesome. Okay, I got a good song for us. All right, everybody stand up, standing up, standing up.
Golden, but until the gates are open, I just wanna feel this moment. Whoa, wanna feel this moment. Whoa, I just wanna feel this moment.
Woohoo! Yeah, how do you feel now? Oh yeah. Everybody's got some blood pumping now, right? What if you did that all the frickin' time, like every morning? Ever hear of priming? Tony Robbins talks about priming. A lot of people teach priming. Meditation, a lot of you guys are smiling. You look so happy. Yes, look, you just primed yourself. You primed yourself. Wow, what do you feel like you're capable of doing now? Anything, right? Anything, right? So, believe me, you know, the times that you're like, oh no, I don't know, it's going to come back. But all you have to do is continue to prime yourself, continue to dance, continue to make yourself good. It's all in the emotions. You know, a lot of people are like, don't think that. The thoughts are going to come through. The mind is like a chatterbox. It doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that you have to grab onto it and start focusing on something and just go, and you do it at nighttime. You're just like, wow, wow, wow. You're like, I can't focus, like, wow, wow, wow. And you're just sucked down into the place. You don't even want to be there. You're thinking about stuff you don't even want to feel. You don't want to think. So yes, it's all about emotions, emotional fitness. Focus on the emotions you want to feel and then choose thoughts that go along with those. And when the mind gives you its bullshit, just go, sorry, but you don't. I love you because it's you, it's your thought, it's your mind. You have to love yourself. Don't say, you stupid. Don't do that, because then you're not loving yourself. And here's what I want to teach you, is that it's normal to have negative, worrisome concerns. You're normal. And you've evolved this way. You, me, all of us, myself, all of us have evolved this way. You know why? Because we come from cavemen. And guess what? The ones that were concerned and worried, they're the ones that survived. The ones that are like, I don't care, you know, that lion looks like a nice lion, you know. They're the ones that got eaten. The ones that weren't concerned about having plenty of food, there's the ones that starved. So we are all evolved from the ones that survived. Think about it. Only in the last 200 years has it been where that's not even needed anymore. We can survive. We don't have to worry and be concerned. So, but our bodies go back millions of years. And it's in our cells of our bodies. So that's why, if you're like, oh, well, why do I have all these thoughts? I wish I would just be a super person and not have them. Well, you have them because you're human and you're alive, and it's normal. But it doesn't mean that you're going to now, with living in 2017, you don't need to live like a caveman anymore. We're in America now, and we can impact our lives, and we can impact ourselves. The caveman had no idea. So what we do is we see that it's the mind, and we can observe our thoughts. Now, here's the question. Okay, now think of some thoughts you have, right? Some thoughts you have, you're like, whatever you tell yourself often that you don't really like. Think about that thought right now. Okay, I always struggle. Things are hard. Why does it be so hard? Whatever it is, okay? The thought. Now you can see the thought, and now put it out in front of you, the thought, okay? In white letters, right? You can see it. Now, as you can see that thought, Who is it that is observing that thought? Who's observing that thought? Well, that's your soul. If you can see your thoughts, then who's that that's observing it? That's your soul. So you are not your thoughts. You are the one, you are the being, you are the value that is observing them. So once you disassociate like that, now you're like, oh, it's not the way it is, it's however I choose to, whatever I choose to believe. Okay, so you might as well be believing some great frickin' shit about yourself. You know, that's how you're going to get a great life. Plus, then you're actually living. Otherwise, you're just suffering. And the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. Tony Robbins. Quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. If you live your life mostly in worry, concern, fear, frustration, can you see? That's the quality of your life. And that gives you your results in your life. Because go to the film set and be worried, concerned, frustrated, anxious, and see how far that gets you. You know? But come onto the film set and be lightness and be interested in other people and be curious and excited, enthusiastic about being there, and see what that gives you. Yeah, see, like you're thinking about, oh, what do I say? How do I make things happen? A lot of the stuff is going to fall into your lap when you practice emotions that actually move you forward. Is this good? Is this good? Are you getting it? Okay, so I just chose an example that was really good. We're basically, if you guys noticed, we're all saying the same things here. So when we look at what our uncertainties are and our underlying fears, notice, and this is part of the training, is to notice how we're all pretty much saying the same thing. You are not unique. You think that you're unique. You're like, yeah, but this is how it is for me. And it's like, if this is how it is, then this is where you feel stuck. And it's like, no, it really is bad. It's really like this. But now we see hundreds of people saying, well, I feel like I'm not good enough, and I'm not good with people, and I don't know how I'm going to get this life that I really want, and it seems like it's such a big goal, and I don't really know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I have the strength, and I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. My underlying fear is, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to fail, and that's going to tell me that all of these things I've been thinking about, that I'm worried about, that it's actually true. If I fail and I get rejected, then all this stuff that I'm kind of like trying not to be, it's going to be fucking true, and I can't stand it. So it's so great to just take what's going around in our head, we put it down in paper for everybody to see, and then we're all like going, wow, yeah, they're just like me. Am I good enough to be a director or filmmaker, he says? What if I fail? I try and I never make it. What is that? I'll be embarrassed to my family, to my friends, but mostly to myself. What if I fail? What if I'm carrying tons of debt and I won't be able to get the quality of life? I'll never be able to. Whatever debt, let me tell you guys, whatever debt you have, say it's 100 grand, say it's 200 grand, and I'm sure for most of you it's much less than that, you can make that in 1 year. It's not a big deal. You know, you just have to develop yourself into somebody that makes that kind of money, and it's not going to be, it's actually pretty easy if you just start to think in this way. And it won't happen in 1 month, it won't happen in 6 months. I know you wanted to, but it doesn't matter. Say it takes you 2 years. Who cares? 2 years! You know, that's great, that's fine. I mean, the whole thing, everybody will tell you, which none of us want to hear, is that it's about the journey anyway. It's who you become anyway that counts. It's like, no, but I just want I want the great life and the money and the travel and the relationship, and I just want it. Just give it to me. In fact, Janet, give me the film jobs. Give it to me. And then I'll be happy and I'll be this great person. Once I'm in the film industry working, I get directing work, I'm going to be really happy then. And that's what I believe, okay? But what I have to say to that is bullshit. Because if it was all given to you, you would be there going, well, I don't know if I fit in. I don't know how I'm going to stay on top, and I don't really know, are they going to notice I don't really know that much? And am I going to, you know, can you just see yourself thinking this way? You know, like I'm scared. They're going to find out I'm not really that great, and I don't really know what to do, and I don't really know what to say. It'll come out. It'll come out. If it was just given to you, if I gave you a bunch of jobs, it would just be, you would just go on them, and you would feel, why is that? Now, there's nothing wrong with you, but why is that? Anybody know? It's because you got to build that motherfucker. You got to build yourself. You have to create it. You have to become that. You have to be good. You got to build that confidence through experiences, through having done it. There's no shortcut, but actually the shortcut is just your way of being out there in the world, where you're continually accepting it and taking those jobs and growing and growing and growing. And then it just starts happening. How many people already know what I'm talking about here because you've already been doing that in your life? Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And it's the whole game. So if you're saying, Janet, why don't you just give me the jobs? Now you know why. Because you got to build that MFer. You got to build that. Just like I did. Just like every single person that they're on set that is successful, they built that MFer, who they are. And believe me, they came from, in fact, they're probably even more successful the more they came from the bad shit. The more bad shit they came from, the fact is that they're more successful. The people that had it given to them, they're like, why can't I create that? Well, because you never developed that MFer because you didn't have enough pain to make yourself frickin' do it, because it's work. You know, you sit there, you guys have been watching the videos here, you had to take time for it, you had to work it into your life. You know, it's not even that much, this training, but if you're really on this change thing, you're watching Robbins, you're watching NLP stuff, you're training yourself, you're reading the books, you know, and it takes some work. And it's much easier. Gary Vaynerchuk said this morning, see, I already watched Gary Vaynerchuk this morning, and he said, it was so good. I'm like, God, I love how he said that. He said, it's so much easier to be bummed out and depressed and to see things in a negative light. He's like, it's so much easier. It's much harder to be positive and create this life. He's like, but I choose that any day. So yes, the majority of people out there, probably a good 80%, are going to see the negative, and they're going to get stuck in their own head and believing their thoughts, their mind, and by the time they hit 50, they're not going to have that much money, and it's not going to feel so good. That life could be called a warning. And here's an interesting thing too, you guys, because I just realized this lately. I tell you everything I realize. The people that you guys have been looking up to, trying to please, trying to show that you're worthy of their love, worthy of their impression of you. Well, just listen, when you go home, notice when you go home, look at who you're trying to impress. I got it together. I got it together. And a lot of those people that you're trying to impress, you may not realize it now. In a couple years, in 10 years, in 20 years, you're going to realize a lot of those people, they did not have their shit together at all. And their life is actually a warning. Like their relationship is bad. They have not worked on themselves. They've been criticizing and blaming and telling other people what to do and trying to control. They're still coming from a good place. They come from love. They come from inside. There's love, but it feels like control to everybody else. And the way that they've been communicating with people is kind of cutting, kind of like righteous, and you feel a lot of pressure from those people. But still, they're still coming from love. They just never worked on themselves to be able to actually impact everybody around them, including their own relationship with their spouse or with their kids, you know. So they're in a lot of pain. It's crazy. 70, 80 years old and you're in a lot of pain? You should have learned by that time. Right? But people don't do that. If you don't practice this stuff and you just like live life, then you have a lot of warnings. And it's really hard to turn around by the time you're 50, you know? Because you've wired yourself, because you're just really wired yourself. So what you want to do right now is to wire yourself for success. And what this whole thing about is wiring yourself for success in the film industry. But first, you're wiring yourself for success because that's the foundation, basically. You know, that's who you're presenting yourself as out there in the industry. Okay, so I already explained why we have all these fears and uncertainties, which is very valuable. And it comes from, we're wired that way, but we don't have to believe it, okay? So now we'll get into a little presentation here. So now grab your pen and your Friends and Film notebook. If you're already taking notes, I see a lot of you guys are already taking notes, which is freaking awesome because you're freaking awesome. The pathway to reinventing our lives and ourselves. The big question is, what do you want? Okay? A lot of us, when I say, hey, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? A lot of us go, well, I want to get out of this job and I want to make enough money so I can pay off my debt and I want to move out of this town. So you start to kind of focus on what you don't want. But what I want to ask you right now, and maybe write it down as long as we're doing this, what do you want? What do you want? Because once you write it down, once you say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I'm about, this is what all my energy goes towards, you crystallize it, then you start moving that way. And all of the concerns and fears, they can't hold a candle to that. When that's stronger than all the other bullshit that your mind will come up with, it can't hold a candle to it. So what do you want? Next big question is, why do you want it? The why gives you the fuel to go after it like a mofo. The why? Well, because I want to have an extraordinary life where I feel great every day, where I'm contributing to people, where I make an impact. I'm a great example for my family and my friends, where I'm creative and I love being in a creative state. I maximize who I am. I am meant to do this. I am meant to direct, produce, act, do camera, hair, makeup. This is what I'm meant to do. And in fact, maybe I'll do multiple things like this creatively and get paid a lot of money. The why. The why will keep you going when you get rejected. Do you think you're going to get rejected? Or at least you view it as rejection? Oh yeah. It's so funny that, you're like, you work with somebody, maybe on a set, because a lot of you guys are already working on film sets, just not as much as you want to be. And you're like, oh, I worked on that. I thought I had made a good impression, and they didn't call me. And you're like, oh, I feel rejection. So, like, how can I reach out to anybody when I'm in this state of feeling rejection? How can I? Like, I don't feel empowered now. I don't feel like it. So notice when you're doing that, because all you're doing is you're believing your bullshit, and you're allowing, with that focus, to get into what emotions are you feeling? Disempowered, a little bit bummed, a little bit depressed, a little bit anxious. Oh yeah, those are your emotions, so that's the quality of your life. So what if you would just interpret every time you felt that you were getting rejected just more like, well, it's just another stepping stone towards where I'm going, because what I want to do is this, and this is why I want it. It's gonna happen. It may not happen next week, but it's gonna happen. So that's got some power behind it. It's just like, you know what? I just can't stop. I can't. Why I wanted it, you guys. What I wanted is I wanted to travel around the world for National Geographic and meet cool people and see the stuff from the inside. Go to the most interesting places and see it from the inside. That's what I wanted. Why? Because I wanted that. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be different. I wanted to meet interesting people. And I wanted to attract a great man in my life. And I wanted to have great friends. And I wanted to go to the beach. And I want to have wine with people. And I wanted to feel full. Okay, so a lot of whys there. A lot of whys there, right? So, hey, choose some of those if you like them. Now, the third question is really good. Who must you become in order for it to be inevitable? So if I realize that, yes, who I must become means that I must actually work on some of these disempowering thoughts, not believing them, and become somebody that it's going to be inevitable that all that stuff is going to happen. That's what you want to work on. That's the big question. In fact, write that question down, because tomorrow, in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, and you're not talking here with me, you wake up and you're like, God, things suck. Just go, hey, who must I become in order for it to be inevitable? And then you're going to be like, well, I'm going to go to work today. I don't really like doing that. But who must I become? I must be positive. I need to get out of myself and be interested in other people. And maybe I need to make like 50 phone calls today. And that means I must become courageous. That means I must be okay if things don't always go my way and some people hang up on me. That's okay. It's like, hey, who I must become is somebody who's just like, I'm going forward no matter what. Yes. I mean, come on, you guys. If you think, don't you think that if you actually become like that, don't you think that the whole world is yours? Everything's going to happen for you? Of course, of course. So what we're actually doing is we're changing our identity, our self-image. I have changed my identity, self-image, and I keep doing it. So it's not like, hey, once I get it, it's done. My work is done. I'm good enough now. Ask my husband that. We are both growing all the time. And we're changing our identities. We're becoming more loving, better listeners, more out of our own heads and more into everybody around us, giving all the time. Yes, if you want a great life, marry a great person. And then work on that relationship to make it freaking like amazing. Like you're both just like dancing every time you see each other. That's how it is for us. But it didn't just, it's not like, oh yeah, we're such a great match and we dance all the time. No, we actually both have a vision for a great relationship, great communication. And therefore we're on the same page. We want it, so therefore we create it. We create it. We create that. And then it feels so good. And it creates more and more and more of that. The better it gets, the better it gets. This is your true identity. Who you must become as you're starting to do this. This is who you really are. Okay. All the other stuff is more like noise. It's more like just patterns. The patterns that you have been practicing, they suck. Okay? The patterns suck. The patterns are going to give you a life that's going to be a warning. So, the patterns suck. You don't suck. And you can see the patterns, so who's that seeing those patterns? Ah, that's your soul. That's a part of you that is like infinitely has value forever and ever, and it can never be taken away. I don't care I do care, but if you had really traumatic things happen to you, if you've been abused, if you've been told that you're shit your whole life, if you've been told that, you know, if you've had just people put you down and you've believed it, it's time to change that. That's not who you are. Those are just patterns that you kind of got stuck in. Time to change. This is who you're meant to be. Yes, this is how you're going to accomplish everything. So your current life conditions, you look at your current life conditions, what you have so far, and then your blueprint for how you believe that it's supposed to be. The difference between these two lines is your level of unhappiness or stress right here. Because when you're over here and you're living your life in the way that you feel that it should be, and you are powerful and you're impacting it, you feel ecstatic, you feel happy, and there's more and more that you can do, and this is when you're in your most creative state right over here. You can totally create this. In fact, that's your job. That's your job, is to create that. So there's who you're being now, and we all have places who you're being now. We all have stuff that we're working on, and then who you're meant to be. Discover your true identity and become that person. That's our job. Self-identity regulates everything you do. What you believe that you're capable of, what you believe, what you deserve, that's what you get. Let that land on you. Like if you believe that you don't deserve something, that's what you call a limiting belief. And therefore you're never going to get it. If you believe a limiting belief, like I'm in debt and I have no money, it's going to take me a long time to get out of this. If you believe that, that's what you're going to get. How much effort how are you going to feel when you believe that bullshit, right? Disempowered, depressed, okay? And can you do anything from that state? Not much, no. So this is how beliefs impact your emotions or how you feel, which impacts what you do. And that impacts your results. That impacts how you do it, you know? So it's not just actions. You can take a lot of actions, like I'm doing this, doing this, doing this, do. But if you believe that they don't really care and what I'm giving is not really that valuable anyway, you can do a shitload of stuff. But if you believe that it's not that great, it's not really going to happen, that's not going to give you success, is it? So belief is the key part of this whole thing. If your identity is in alignment with what you want to accomplish it, oh yes, you're going to accomplish it much faster. Your beliefs, everything will be aligned. Much of your struggles come from not taking a proactive approach to shaping your identity. Yes, up until now, And you still you've been studying this stuff, but now we're really crystallizing it, especially in this conversation. So now I can tell, I know that you're going to take a proactive approach in shaping yourself. You get it. You're like, this is worth it. I'm going to wire it myself to be who I want to be. That's the whole thing. So there's your lower self. We all have both of these selves in ourselves. This is where this work is from Susan Jeffers, and I've added to it with a lot of Robin stuff and a lot of stuff I've learned through MITT and Landmark. Some of you guys know some of these personal development programs, and I've studied NLP, and I just started that. But it's all the same kind of stuff, reframing this so that you become freaking powerful in your life, impactful, confident. And it's who you are. You don't have to try. You don't have to try anymore. It's just who you are. That's what we are wiring ourselves to be. That's when we have power. So, but we all have, even though we've wired ourselves to be these magnificent, confident people, we all still have a lower self and a higher self. The question is which one is running the show? The lower self avoids situations where you could possibly fail. When you are doing that, you're in your lower self. Your higher self is your empowered self, and that's when you're taking action anyway. You're still going to feel the fear, but you're taking action because you're like, hey, you know what? Who I want to become is way stronger than being stuck in my lower self and listening to all that bullshit. The lower self has a lot of worry and gets freaking pissed off a lot, sometimes at other people. The higher self is figuring it out. It's going, hey, you know what? Getting pissed off and frustrated, it's certainly putting me in a mental state where I can't figure freaking anything out. So let me just set that aside and let me figure this thing out, because that's going to get me a great life. I know it. That's who I want to be anyway, and I want to feel good. Lower self is often in a frustrated state and a worried state. Oh, what about my kids? What about how I do this? Frustrated. Ah, shoot, if I only was smart, if I could only remember things better. Frustrated. Higher self empowers themselves. You know what? There's a lot of good things, even though I can't remember things very well. My husband, he can't remember faces. Can you imagine going on a film set, people you've known for 20 years, and you're on the set and you don't know who they are, even though you've talked to them like 30 times? Is that a little handicap? Yeah, that's how it is for him. He can't remember faces. So he's like, I know we had a great conversation. He could be in a frustrated state and say, you know what, there's nothing I can do in my life. My life sucks. So what he's done instead, he's just like, you know what, I accept who I am, and I frickin' have a lot to give, and I'm just going to give it. I'm just going to give it. I'm going to do a great job. I'm going to love people, and I've got this thing about me. It's unique. A lot of the stuff that you're like, I wish I wasn't this way. If you didn't have that, you have all this time been developing yourself to be quite an incredible, amazing person because of that thing. A lot of the stuff that you thought was really wrong with you, you've been working on it so that you've developed other abilities, capabilities, compassions because of that thing that you thought was wrong with yourself. So, like, think about that. For not to be able to recognize people, it's a little unfortunate, right? But because of that, he would never be this giving, loving, selfless person that I married, that I am so in love with. That's just such, he would never have developed into that. He would have been like, I don't know. But he probably wouldn't have been in this happy relationship either. So who knows? Nobody wants to admit that they're in their lower self. Because if you lie to yourself and say, no, I don't ever do that, then you got nothing. There's no way that you're going to be able to impact yourself at all or work on yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. So whenever you blame circumstances like, oh, I don't have enough money, or I didn't have good education, or I got no education, or I don't have good like parents that were in the film industry, I live in a small town. Whenever you blame circumstances, what are you doing? You're making all that stuff more powerful than you. No, I can't do it because I live in a small town, but I don't have that much money, but I don't have a good job, but I'm not good with people. Okay, whenever you blame anything, you've taken the power away from yourself, and you took the responsibility away from yourself. It's the opposite of like, I'm freaking doing this. Yeah, my my parents weren't in show business. Yeah, they, yeah, I live in a small town. Yeah, I don't make that much money. Yeah, but I'm fucking doing this. That's power. That feels good. You're going to have different thoughts, aren't you? Different thoughts, you're going to take different actions, you're going to get different results. You're going to have different beliefs. You're going to believe different things that are true about yourself. If you're in the pattern of blaming yourself, don't blame yourself. Just figure it out. Just decide, you know what? I've got a good head on my shoulders. I got a lot to give. Let me frickin' start doing it. Okay. Lower self is a lesser version. You really are a lesser version of yourself because of fear. You find that you get into situations where you should be talking to people, going out there, going after this stuff, but you can see that you don't do it because you're afraid. You shrink at the exact moment when you should be the opposite. You shrink. You don't go after it. You're just in your lower self. Don't go, oh, jeez, yeah, I'm so stupid. Again, don't blame yourself. You're in your lower self again. Just notice these patterns. That's all I want you to do is just notice these patterns and don't go, oh, that's me. Go, oh, those are patterns I've been making stronger and stronger because I keep going into these patterns. I keep doing it. You're doing all this stuff. You're doing worry, you're doing anger, you're doing frustration, you're doing blame, you're doing it. Yeah, sure, you may have grown up where everybody around you is doing that, and you're like, yeah, but that's who I am too, It's like, yeah, when you're so surrounded by it, of course you're going to be that way. What have you just done? You're in your lower self right there, and again, you're blaming other people for how you turned out. What does that do for you? You can't do shit then if you believe that. Whenever you blame anything, you take the power away from yourself. Bottom line, boom, that's it. But the higher self creates a new version of yourself every day. That's exciting. It's like, you're going to find that as you're in these patterns and you recognize you're in them, you're going to be like, well, then if I don't blame people or myself, what the hell do I do? I'm not used to doing that. Exactly. This is where you start to change. This is where you start to actually grow. And it's going to feel weird, and you're going to go back into doing your old patterns again. Because why? Because they're familiar. Because that's who you say, that's who you are, that's what you're like. It's even harder when you're back with your family, You go like, oh, you just kind of, your body and your whole thing goes back into those patterns because that's how everybody's seen you all this time. They don't see this like empowered person taking over the world. They're like, yeah, but you're this way. So you will go into those patterns, but you are changing. You're breaking out of that. You're becoming more. Can you see that? You feel it? Does it make sense? Pain. That's not amazing, but that's where a lot of us are living all the time, in pain. It's painful to be worried and angry and frustrated. You don't want to feel this way. This is the quality of your life when you're there. You don't want to feel like you've got no power of yourself. It's pain. And in fact, when the more pain you're in, the more you focus on yourself. The more you're not able to feel anybody else's pain because yours is so strong. It's just right there. And it's so big. And you're so stuck and you want to change it, but your patterns will not let you change it if you stay in these patterns. Now you're seeing the patterns. So you've heard this already. Awareness is like, it's very healing because it's like, now I'm aware of this, that it's a pattern. And I've been putting myself in a very painful place all the time. Pain begets more pain. Pain gives you more pain. The people whose lives are a warning, they've been in a lot of pain. And that it compounds and it gets really like who they are. Like their whole body kind of shrinks and it gets all like, they get heart problems, they get cancer, they're not free. They're like, they got the weight of the world and they're in pain. And they hurt a lot of other people because they're in such pain themselves. They don't even know the impact they have on other people. So we want to go from pain to freaking power. The higher self is in power. The higher self is power. Do you feel it? Can you see it? It's moving forward. Everybody has fear. Successful people feel it and don't let that feeling stop them. Oh, I feel fear. I feel a lot of atoms vibrating in my body. And you're like, what the hell is she talking about? That's all fear is, atoms vibrating. I did this class with Marie Forleo's husband. She teaches how to make money on the internet, how to I've never taken her class, but I watch her stuff because I'm like, you know what? I love the way she communicates. I'm always looking at improving everything. So anyway, her husband is an actor. He teaches a class on how to become present. I'm like, oh, that is one thing that we all know. Being present is a skill that is amazing. The more you practice being present, not going into your head and thinking about stuff, worrying about the future, thinking about the past, wishing you should have said it different, present. Boom. No future, no past. Present. Gives you power. So I went to a class to practice this. One of the first things that we did is everybody stood in front of the class, and one at a time. So the whole class, like 50 people, these were doctors, these were attorneys, these are people that give presentations, that do conversations, which is pretty much the whole world, and they want to have impact on people. So very great people there. Anyway, we all stood in front of the group, and I remember I stood there. He's like, okay, so what do you feel right now? I'm like, I feel fear. I feel, and he's like, where's the fear? I'm like, I feel it in my stomach. And he's like, oh, okay. How would describe that feeling? Oh, it just feels like a pressure, like everybody can feel it. You could feel it yourself. You can actually focus on it, you'll feel it. Okay, but you're standing in front of all these people. I'm like, oh, I feel, it's like butterflies. And now I feel like a tightness in my throat. And he's like, do you feel it in your stomach anymore? No, now it's a tightness in my throat. And now, oh, I just feel like my eye was just twitching. So you're saying out loud to him what you're feeling as you're standing there in front of all these people. Oh, now it's back in my stomach. I just got a pang again. Okay, this is during the class. And he's like, okay. So after you do that, we did that for like 2 minutes, and we're like, oh yeah, it's moving all around. And now I had this thought, and now I wish I would have worn something differently. And now I just want to get down, but I can't. Now and another pang of fear in my stomach. Right? Every single person said pretty much the same thing, right? We are not unique. When you realize that it's you and everybody else that's feeling all these feelings at the same time, you're like, I'm not unique. It's not my problem. We all have fear. It's just atoms vibrating. It's just atoms vibrating. That's why it's moving all over the place. You're alive. You have atoms all over, tiny, tiny, tiny particles. Atoms vibrating. It's just energy. So you're like, oh, I can accept this then. Next time, I'm like a little bit nervous. I'm like, oh, atoms are vibrating. Ha, ha, ha. It's not something that overcomes me. It's like, no, atoms are vibrating. Oh, shortness of breath? Yes, my body's reacting to the atoms vibrating. Yes, but I'm alive. And one day, you will be an atom floating along out there in space, and you'll look down and you'll go, I wish I had a body that I could have felt some fear in. But by that time, you will be atoms in space. You won't have a body. So, be okay to feel those feelings. Be okay to feel those atoms vibrating. It's okay. You're alive. We're all alive right now. And here's the best part of it all. We all live in the United States of America. Oh, yes. We are so lucky in the fact that we can have a great life here. We have opportunities. I mean, we're lucky. So, and we can feel fear, and we can still rock it. We can still bring it. In fact, it just means you're just like everybody else, and you're cool, and you're great, and you're giving person. So now you have a lot more access to parts of you that you're like, shit, you disowned those parts before, but now you're like, no, it's okay. It's like, it's actually my strength. Because if you didn't feel it, what would you be? You'd be a freaking robot. You'd be like, You'd have no feeling, no compassion. You'd be a psychopath, and you could kill people without even knowing because you didn't feel anything. And then you're going to really have a shitty life. Okay. Avoiding challenges because you feel fear, that's the problem, okay? That's the big problem when you find yourself avoiding them. Shrinking because you believe some limiting belief about yourself is true, that's a problem. When you shrink because you're believing some bullshit, limiting belief, and I want to get specific on what is your limiting belief. Because just saying, oh yeah, I got bullshit in my head, it's not going to really help you too much. Actually identifying what you do, what operationally you've been doing, oh, that's going to give you. Now we concentrate on that a little bit right now. And now we got access to it. So let's do that. Pick what is the biggest thing that operationally in your life, you know that you've been telling yourself, and you no, that doesn't serve you. Okay, but you know that's a pattern that you've been doing. Okay, thinking that you're not good enough, thinking that you're not good with people. What belief? It's all a belief. You created it, so you can uncreate it. It takes a little bit of work to uncreate it because it's wired in there, and it's right there. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. So you can work on yourself where it's like, hey, now that's not really there. You still love it, still part of you because but it's like, that doesn't really run the show, and it doesn't have the emotional intensity that it did before. And wow, I guess I really have kind of changed. Cool, exciting, yes. Okay, so we're gonna do an exercise now. It's pretty intense. And we're gonna look at what your life will be like if you allow yourself to shrink because of fear, and if you continue to believe some of these limiting things that you believe, if you continue to believe those things operationally, what impact that will have on your life. Then we'll look at it the opposite after that. This is a great thing to do because you're going to actually see that what it costs you to believe that you're not good with people, to believe that you're not that creative, to believe whatever it is. Does everybody right now just type into the chat, what is the biggest limiting belief that you have about yourself that you've up until now been kind of thinking is true? I'm never going to have a great life because blah, 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 blah. Those are limiting beliefs. They're not true. You've just been making them really strong. Time to not do that anymore. Time to create a new way to roll. So, but limiting beliefs, what do we have here? I'll never succeed. If I do succeed, I'm afraid I won't be able to handle it. Actually, nobody said that, but maybe somebody's going to type that. But that's a fear of success. Look, I'm not in a good place, not where I want to be. When I talk, I'm like nervous. I'm getting older, and I won't be as impactful because I'm getting too old. The economy sucks. I got a dead-end job, and I'm stuck. There's no training. I'm in my own way. I got stuff that mentally slows me down. Mental disorders. Oh, I got $500,000 debt. That's a lot of debt, but that's only a couple years of work. Fear I will be stuck. Lack of freedom. Okay, let's concentrate on things. Okay, epilepsy. My brother had that. Student loan, the survival job. That's just fact of life. But that's not a limiting belief. The limiting belief is, it's just more like fact. Like you have the debt and you have a dead-end job. That's not a limiting belief. What is something that you tell yourself? Like, because of that, I will never be blah, blah, blah. I will never have a good life. That is the limiting belief. The facts is not the limiting belief. The facts are just the facts. They're just the facts. How you interpret those facts, now that is what makes you either get stuck or makes you go, okay, that's the facts. Now let me frickin' get to work to change my situation. I'm afraid of getting stuck, struggling to survive. Oh, I'm not confident. I'm not confident. I'm not good looking enough. I want these kind of roles, but I'm not good looking enough. I'll never get those roles. That's a limiting belief. Because there are people that are all different looks, all different sizes, all different ethnicities out there doing amazing things. And you got to believe that you can do amazing things, because if you believe it, then you're going to do it. If you believe that because of the way you look, you're not going to get anywhere in your life, then guess what's going to happen? You're not going to get anywhere in your life because of that belief. Let's look at the impact of those beliefs now. My weight, yes. I don't have the background and I don't understand technology. I don't understand it. And it holds me back. And I can't understand it. I'm too tall. Physical things about yourself. How you look. There's a lot of things I'd love to change about myself. But I gotta love myself. If I'm gonna have a great life, I gotta decide that how I'm gonna roll is I'm gonna love myself, because if I don't accept myself, then what am I doing? I am stabbing myself. And the more I stab myself, the more I'm in a crappy state. Am I gonna attract anybody good in my life? Am I gonna attract any good career situation? No. and you notice that the people that may not be that like conventionally great looking, but they decide that, you know what, my height, my weight, I fucking rock, I look pretty damn good. And you know what, well, how I feel is the most important thing. Everybody's attracted to those people. Are you kidding me? Everybody's attracted to those people. It doesn't matter your physical stuff. You have to accept your physical stuff, because being tall, you're not going to be able to get shorter. Being short, you're not going to be able to get taller unless you take some kind of drug that would screw things up. So you have to accept yourself and just be like, I'm going to freaking rock with the freaking body I have right now, because I'm not atoms vibrating out in space right now. I have this body. I can have a great life. No matter what, I can have a great life. So let's start to work on ourselves now. Very good. You're like, damn it, I'm always in my head. I go into my head and I suffer. Just think of what you're doing. What is the primary thing you're doing? And we're going to work on that right now. Okay, very good, you guys. Great job. We're going to do an exercise now, life-changing. We're going to look at what would your life be like if you let fear or limiting beliefs stop you and you don't take action. You're living life in a bent-over, shrinked version of yourself. We're going to look at what is the impact of that. So if you're willing to go through a little bit of pain in order to get a handle on what keeps you stuck, then stick with me and we're going to do this exercise and you're going to be able to really clearly see it and it's going to be great. Now, it'll be worthless to you when I ask these questions if you only just think of the answers, but if you don't actually really feel in your body what the consequences are. You need to feel this instead of just having it come out of your head mentally. Feel it, okay? And you want to actually really feel the impact of this way of thinking has had on your life up until now. Make it physical. Make it tension. Make it pressure. Make it weight on you, okay? And it's the opposite of the nature that we've just been talking about, that we're going towards. But what this is going to do is focusing on it like this and feeling it in our body. It's going to give us leverage to not be stopped by these limiting beliefs about ourselves and our fear. You will never be stopped by them again once you get this. Is that worth it? Yes. Okay. We're going to get leverage on ourselves. We're going to be like, not another day, not another hour. This is changing now. These limiting beliefs have cost me too much. And it's not even true. These patterns have cost me too much and no freaking more. Okay? All right. So what I want everybody to do, close your eyes. Feel your center. Feel strong. Breathe deep. Okay, good. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine all the things that you're uncertain about. With your eyes closed, think about all the things you're uncertain about. Think of all the things that you're afraid of. Look at your fears. Look at your uncertainties. What's the most destructive belief that you have about yourself? What's a belief that you'd rather not even admit that you have, but it's in there? I'm not good with people. I'm awkward. I can't take rejection. I'll always be struggling. Things never go my way. I'm blah, 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 blah. Everybody got the belief that you feel like it's there a lot. Now, what I'd like you to do with your eyes closed is I want you to think about all the consequences that have already come into your life because of these destructive beliefs. All the consequences of not going balls to the wall of what you want because of these beliefs. And the fear that holds you back now, the fear of failing, the fear of rejection, fear of unknown. I want you right now in your body to imagine all the negative consequences that have come into your life because of these beliefs. All the hurts, all the frustrations, all the sadness, the depression, the anger, whatever feelings you felt. You want to believe that you're good enough, but inside there's a little voice that says, you're not all that. And it causes you to do things with reservation. Oh, I'll have to think about it. I'll have to plan for that. And you do it in a shrinking way. Less than who you are, who you want to be. You say, maybe I'll do it next time when I'm more ready. But you know that you sold yourself out to yourself. And that you shrunk right then and there. And how does it feel to shrink? To think and to actually believe that there's something wrong with me. How does that feel? What's the price of these beliefs? You've repeated and dwelled on them and you made them feel like they're true. I want you to imagine putting all those feelings, all those negative consequences into your body right now at one time. Feel the weight of those consequences in your body. Feel that. The pressure that comes, the absolute pressure that comes from feeling that pain, that disappointment. What relationships are no longer in your life because of these beliefs? You didn't think you're good enough, so you shrank away. Who have you missed out on because you believed these beliefs? What resentment or sadness have you had because of these beliefs? With family, with friends, with yourself. Feel that in your body. How does it feel? What have these BS beliefs affected how you are with people now? How you're going for your career? How you see yourself? How much have you gone for it in the past with these beliefs in place? How does it feel to shrink, to believe that you're not that great? Think of all the consequences that happen to you financially in your career because of these limiting beliefs. What have you failed to accomplish? Be honest. Don't think about what you have. Think about what you haven't done. What haven't you done because of these beliefs? Feel what it feels like to know you hurt yourself because of your own beliefs. Now, we're going to look at what impact of these destructive beliefs have on you if you keep believing them. What your life will be like if you continue to believe these bullshit beliefs. You don't want people to know that you're really this certain way. Oh, that's a belief, that you believe about yourself, that you're this way. How does it feel in your body to be afraid that you can't make it? That doubt is right there because you've been believing something about yourself. What is that you've been believing? And notice that it is a belief that needs to be taken out forever. It does not help you. It is not your friend. What is the impact of having that belief run you in the next 5 years? Drag your limiting beliefs with you 5 years into the future. And now imagine your life now. 5 years in the future, you kept these beliefs. Now you're keeping them another 5 years. Feel that like a snowball, getting bigger and heavier and more intense. It's impacting your life more and more and more. 5 years of living this way. 5 more years of fear, of loneliness, of hurt, depression. Feel it in your body. Feel the pain and disappointment for 5 more years. Feel it. Feel the consequences of these beliefs. Feel what they cost you. What's your deepest regret now, 5 years from now? Who's no longer in your life because of these beliefs? 5 years of this pain. What's your body like because of these beliefs 5 years from now? Do you have disease? Are you fat? Or are you skinny and thin because you're not taking care of yourself at all? What happened to your energy 5 years from now? What happened to your career? What did you miss out on? What did you lose? Take the 5 years of pain all at once in your body. Feel it, but don't change. Don't change. Continue to lie to yourself. I'm not really good with people. I'm not talented enough. I don't know if I have what they want. I have no evidence that I can do it. I'm not good enough. Don't change. Feel the full intensity of this. Feel it. Keep telling yourself it's not that big of a deal, when inside you know it is. Continue to lie to yourself and tell you that you can't change. And as you do, sentence yourself to 10 years of this. You've kept these limiting beliefs for 10 years. Get ready to enter your body 10 years from now with these beliefs in place. Come up with the worst case scenario you can possibly imagine. Whew. What did you give up on for 10 years so that you could hang on to these beliefs? 10 years from now, what hurts you the deepest? What's your bank account like? What's the look on your face? What's your deepest regret? What's happened to your joy 10 years from now because of these limiting bullshit beliefs? What happened to your love? What kind of relationship are you even in? What happened to your smile, your energy? Who did you never meet because of these beliefs? Who did you shrink away from? What did you fail to achieve because of these beliefs? Are you even alive in 10 years because of these beliefs? These bullshit beliefs, these limiting beliefs. How does that feel? Feel it and tell yourself you can't change. That is just your problem. Do we need to go 20 years? Are these beliefs worth it? Start answering out loud now. Are you willing to settle for this as your destiny? Yes or no? But you can't change. You have to settle for these beliefs because, after all, it was told to you since you were a child, so you have no choice, right? You have no choice, yes or no? No. But It's not your fault because it was told to you. You're a victim, so you have to be a victim for the rest of your life. Yes or no? Are you willing to suffer these consequences? Yes or no? No! Are you willing to hurt your friends and your family and your loved ones because of these bullshit beliefs? No! Do you have to go 20 years in the future to find enough pain to change? No! When would you change? The answer is now! When would you change? Now! Who controls what you believe? You do. Can anyone make you believe anything? No. Who's the only person who controls what you believe? You do. Does your past control what you believe today? Does it matter if anybody told you something your whole life? Does it matter? No. When can you change? The answer is now. When can you change? Now. Who controls what you believe? You do. You are in absolute control of what you believe. Can anyone make you believe anything? No. Can anyone control what you believe? No. Let the spirit talk. Stand up. What you're going to do is you're going to tear out any belief that limits you. You're going to rip it out and you're going to destroy it. You're going to disintegrate it. Stand up. Rip it out of your system. And then we're going to celebrate your freedom. Wow, do you realize what you guys just did? That was big. In fact, many of the mentors that are in the program, most of them have not done this. What you did was intense. That's intense. But it is amazing. You got leverage on yourself. You are not going to go there anymore. Your brain's going to go, what the fuck? No way! You're not going to go there anymore. You're going to be like, I'm doing that thing again. No. No more frustration. No more anxiety. No, that was a thought came from anxiety. That's not me. That's not how I roll anymore. You have gotten leverage on yourself. That was huge. This exercise comes from Tony Robbins. We do it every time you go to UPW. It is powerful. And you did it. I remember when I was doing this exercise with him, I didn't want to do it. I've done it many times. I never want to do it. But I tell you, it gives me access. I'm like, yeah, that gives me access. I recognize those thought patterns. I'm like, nope, not who I am. Now we're going to do a new exercise. Oh, you're going to like this one. Much better. This is going to give you access to your future. With your eyes closed. Everybody close your eyes now. With your eyes closed. Now, think of what your life would be like if you had uncertainties, but you kept going forward anyway. Let's look at what that future would bring. What would life be like if you brought all of you? You made major headway. You got to know people. They got to know you. And you're doing work you love, and you're getting paid well for it. Wow, imagine that life in bright, full color right in front of you, and you are in it. Where do you want to be? Now let your mind just kind of float around. Where do you want to be? What would your life be like if you had mastered your career, your finances, your money, yourself, your happiness, your confidence, your just zest for life, your freedom? What kind of person would you feel like? Who could you help? What are the things that you want in your career, in your life, that would excite you? What are you committed to creating now? Now, just as a first step right now, I just want you to get a picture so that you can step into it. A feeling, like an image, something that represents what would you like it to be like if you achieved what you want in like the next 12 to 24 months. Get that picture. Just think about what would be the next step, not 10 billion steps forward, but just the next big step. What would be that next step? Where would you like to be right now with all your talent, all your ability, all your skill? If you had no fear, fear would be there, but it's not running you anymore. If you implemented what you know and you found a way to take advantage of what comes your way. Feel like you're having it happen right now. What kind of work would you be doing? How much money would you have in your bank from this work? How much would you have set aside, saved? What would your income be? Think of these things. This is how you get clear on what you want, what you're going to create. What would your lifestyle be like? Where would you be living 12 months from now? Where could you be in 5 years if you were really focused, if you managed your thoughts, if you committed to be in your higher self and you created this life? Where could you be in 5 years? Picture it, full color, right in front of you, you in it. Hear it, smell it, see it, full color. Feel the excitement and the vibrations that come from that image. Where could you be in 10 years now? Let's go 10 years in the future if you were really committed and you didn't let anything else stop you. No limiting beliefs were stopping you at all. Those are just something that is there, but it's not running it anymore. Stand or sit in the physiology you'd be in if you were absolutely living your 10-year dream. You achieved it. Feel the power in your body of mastery. Mastering this area. Feel that sense of certainty. Breathe the way you'd be breathing if you were doing what you loved and it was no longer a question, you're just doing it. Breathe the way you breathe. Breathe full in the way you breathe. Very good. Step into your body like you know you're guided. What if inside you knew that you were living your dream because you found a way to help so many people? You're working in the business. You make other people look good. You found a way to touch people, and it makes you proud. It makes you fulfilled, and you're rewarded financially for it as well. How does it feel when you have that calm sense of freedom, that you did it, that certainty that you created that career? Breathe deep. Breathe that same depth of knowing that mastery in doing what you love, that freedom is waiting for you, available to you because you've achieved it now. Imagine you're there. You've broken through all the fears that stopped you. The memory of things that don't work no longer mattered. You saw it all as just building blocks to where you're going. Everything that happened just made you stronger. All the tough times, they're just stepping stones. You learned from each one and took those things along the way, and it made you stronger and smarter. I want you right now to say out loud, when I tell you to, what you're committed to creating. But I want you to say it as if you're already there. I am this. I am a successful actor. I've achieved great income for my family, financial stability. I feel great within myself and in my body. When you say who you are right now, you take a huge step towards that. You create inline all of the thoughts and all of the energies that actually start creating that as actually happening. So right now, say, I am, and what it is you want to do. How does that feel to say that? It's not that strange, is it? It feels pretty good. It feels really good. And you actually really already are. You already are. Because you're doing these things that actually create all that. You're already probably writing, you're already acting, you're probably directing, you're probably already doing hair and makeup if that's what you want to do. You're doing it. You're actually already doing it. You just have to step into your own greatness now and start doing it out there in the professional world. Do more and more and more of it. Now imagine in the future that you really have created this situation. What kind of lifestyle has this given you? Traveling the world, having creative friends. What does it feel like? You walk into that stage with your coffee and you're like, I'm so happy to be here. I worked hard to be here. I'm so happy to be here. I worked on myself. Imagine that feeling of accomplishment. Imagine that. Yeah, you can see it now, can't you? You really can see it. Think about it in financial terms too. How much money a year? 50 grand? 100 grand? 200 grand a year? Do you think that sounds like a lot? That's totally doable. Are you kidding me? This is a very high-paying business. So, what are you free to do now? What are you free to have? Trips to Europe, taking your parents to Europe, maybe buying a house for your parents, buying them a car. Just kind of go on a rant right now. You're actually creating it as you talk. When you use your voice, that's your body, and you actually cement it in your wiring when you actually use also your voice. So say it out loud. Get certainty in your body. First of all, get in a state. And say out loud the results that you've created in your life right now. I am doing this. I'm going to have a house. I'm going to have a family. I'm going to have a great relationship. I have this. I have this. I have this. I have this. Just say it. Step right now into your body and say out loud, I have this because I continue to give. I continue to create. Love, passion, creativity, excitement. Own it, though. Own it. How are you rolling now? Extraordinary? I bet you are. Do you feel empowered? Yes, you are that person. That is who you are. You are that person. It is you. It's in you and it is you. Stand tall. Feel the pride and the strength inside you. Own your identity as a person who is successful. What is your identity? I'm successful, right? Yes. Are you a giver, mover, shaker? Who's this identity that you are experiencing? What is life like with this identity? Look around your life and see what made you into this person. All that stuff that happened, look at what made you into this person. Feel it. And if you can feel it, if it's inside your soul, if you own this as who you are, just say yes. Notice how yes feels. Now say no. No. Yes creates, moves you forward. No is kind of like, tugging you down, right? A little bit. Yes. This is your new favorite word. Yes. So you can ask yourself great questions. See, when you ask yourself a question, your mind answers it. So what kind of questions can you ask yourself that are creating this person, this new version of yourself? Any kind of question that gives you an answer that empowers you. Have I succeeded in the past? And your answer would be, well, yes. Did I have fear back then and I still went forward? Yes. Does this business reward hardworking people? Yes. It's true, isn't it? These are powerful questions, aren't they? They're not questions like, why can't I? Am I willing to work hard? Yes. Do I love the film industry? Yes. Can I keep learning so I get good? Yes. What did you decide to believe that actually got you this life? This is what I got to believe. That I'm fucking awesome, that I love myself, that I love the talents that I have, that the talents I have are enough, that I can do it. What were the beliefs that you decided to believe that got you where you are? What does somebody that's accomplished so much, what do they say to themselves about these beliefs? What do they say to themselves? You know what? You do a good job. You know what? You're okay. You know what? What do you say to yourself? Somebody that's achieved so much. How do you move? What's the look on your face? How often do you smile and laugh when you feel this free, this success, right? Yes. Yes, think about that. That's your physiology. It's the fastest way to get into this place. How do you treat other people when you're in this place? You love them. You understand them. You're not judging them. You're like, okay, I've been where you're at. I've been where you're at. I understand. So right now I want you to take all the emotion, what it feels like, what you believe about yourself, as you stand there financially secure. On the count of 3, I want you to celebrate like you've never celebrated before, like a little kid. Get ready. Okay, good job. Good job. You guys did such a good job. Now that you have thought so many great thoughts, you are totally in this space. Now, I want you to look at, and you're going to create, what do you want and why do you want it? Write it down. And who do you need to become to make that happen? Just write. Keep working on that and post it in Yammer. That will be awesome for you to post in Yammer, and you can actually read other people's. And you can borrow some of the stuff they said and make sure you cheer them on. Like, oh my God, I love that you wrote that. That's awesome. I'm going to borrow that. That's a great thought, a great action, a great thing to do. You inspire me. The more you give, the more you are outside of yourself and you don't suffer. The more you become the person that you really want to be, giving. The path to your dreams is going towards uncertainty. Now that is like, what? I want things to be certain. I want to know that when I do stuff that certain things are going to happen. I want to know that if I'm confident, I'm on set and that I make connections and I get the work. I want to know that it all lines up like that. I know you do. I know, me too. We all want certainty. You know why? Because then we feel safe. We feel like, okay, yeah, I can actually impact my life. I feel safe. But the fact is, the path to your dreams is the opposite. Because when you try to make everything certain, then you try to impact the outcome of things. You get a real tight grip on it, and you actually are playing it safe and you're not growing. The path to your dreams is going towards what's uncertain. And when you're going towards stuff that's uncertain, that's when fear comes up. That's when it comes up, because it's like, hey, I've never done this before. It's like, hey, I've never had these conversations before. Fear is going to come up. It's going to come up in your body, but it won't stop you. When you feel that fear, you know that you're alive. Yes. It doesn't mean stop. It means go. It means you're actually pushing yourself. You're pushing it. That's awesome. You can tell yourself, victory is near. Yes. Feel it. Victory is near. The quality of my life is directly proportionate to the amount of uncertainty I can comfortably live with. This quote is freaking awesome. You know why? Because uncertainty is something that we don't want. But then we see this quote and we're like, you know what? I can see how that gives me a lot of freedom, because if I can be okay with uncertainty, then get out of my head and just go out there and just bring it, and we'll see. You know, the right people will show up. The jobs will show up, but I got to take a lot of action. And you're going to get yourself to take a lot of action if you're okay with uncertainty. That's also when you're going to grow so much. See, it's the quality of your life because you're going to take a lot of action and you're going to be growing. When you're growing, you have a very high quality of life. When you're stuck and you're in those emotional states that are in those patterns and you don't change much, then you have a low quality of life. And you're grabbing onto certainty like crazy because you don't want to feel certain things, but then you feel them. You have a low quality of life. If you're okay with uncertainty, it gives you a lot of freedom. Who feels that? Who feels that, you know? Here's what you do when fear or limiting beliefs come up, because they're going to come up, and they're going to come up right when it's the biggest time where you're going towards what's uncertain. That's when they're going to come up. Here's what you do. You ask yourself an empowering question. You ask yourself a question because if your brain answers it, then you believe it. If you just make a statement like, I'm successful, I'm confident, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, you can do that and it's good, but when you ask yourself a question, am I constantly growing every day? Yes. Am I worth working on? Yes. Do I love myself? Yes. These are all empowering questions. They're all questions that move you forward. This will change your life. Here are some examples. I'm uncertain how to get to my goals as actor, director, writer, blah, blah, blah. Underlying fear. I'm just not sure if I'm good enough to do this. This is all of our underlying fears, by the way, whether we're good enough and if we're going to be loved. Because if we lose love, then we die. So this is a fear. It's wired into us. All of us have this fear, whether we're good enough. So what you're doing is you're learning, instead of it being like, oh, something that you're like floating around trying to cover up, now you're just like, oh no, I have this fear. And now let me make myself even stronger by asking myself some empowering questions. So here are some empowering questions that totally annihilate this fear. Are there other people doing it? The answer is yes. Did they also have fear? Yes. Can I get on set and meet these people and model some successful people? Yes. Can I see how they actually get work so they're working all the time? Yes. Who do I want to meet that works in the business? Whoever it is. Steven Spielberg. Lyra from our program, the mentorship program, she just worked with Spielberg. Did she tell you that? She worked with him for several weeks. I don't think that she ever knew that that was going to happen. And there's many things that you don't know that's going to happen that are going to be amazing. You don't even know what's going to be happening in your life. It's going to be so amazing. More empowering questions. Do I want to learn this stuff? Yes. If I don't know something, is there training I can get? Heck yes. Can I get involved in my industry now? Yes. Can I make money in this industry right now? Yes. Can I use that money to invest in more training, more classes, moving to LA, whatever I want? Yes. Does everybody start off somewhere? Yes. These are all empowering questions. They move you forward. Do I know how to do this in a smart way? You're like, yes. Do I trust myself? Yes. Can I learn to be the best on set so I can be successful as a writer, actor, director, DP, sound mixer, hair, makeup, stunts, special effects, whatever it is. Yes, 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 yes. So your homework, your fun work is to post what are the underlying fears and your uncertainties. Hey, you got to write down the fear, because the fear is what stops you. The fear is what keeps you small. Oh, fear, I'm not good enough. I'm not sure I'm likable. I'm afraid I'm not what they're looking for. That's the fear. Okay, so you wrote it down. It's not in your head anymore. So what are 3 empowering questions you can ask yourself about each fear? You come up with them and make sure that they annihilate that fear, you know? So then that fear doesn't run you anymore. That's how you deal with fear. That's how you work with fear, okay? Awesome. This is very powerful. Like, this will change your life. It'll change everything. It'll make you go so much faster. It'll turn you into the person you want to be, your true identity, your true self. This is moving forward. You're using your mind in a very smart way to move you forward instead of churning the bullshit. You really get in life what you practice. Everything you got to look at, every thought that comes up and you're like, oh yeah, but that's true. And then you're like, wait a minute, is it true? Is that way of thinking going to give me an extraordinary life? Is that who I want to become? Because if I'm going to believe that's true, that's a belief, right? Everything is a belief. If I'm going to believe that, then that's probably going to give me mediocre life. Or that's probably going to give me extraordinary life. You have to look at all your beliefs, all the thoughts, and go, is that who I want to become? Because, you know, even a thought like, oh, I'm just going to take it easy today and hang out, and I enjoy that, and I deserve that. Even that thought, you know, it's like, you know what? Is that aligned with who I want to become, with what I want to create in my life? I'm like, no, actually, I'm going to do something that's going to create the person that I want to be. The person you want to be is the biggest thing, you guys. It's not what you're going to have in the future. It's who you're going to be. Whatever it is I want to do, I'm like, oh, I'm going to plan it. I'm going to figure out how to do that now. Go to Portugal, take this training, get into this line of work. You guys don't even know a lot of the things I've done. Done things that nobody's done. Like I crashed bank conferences, and I didn't even know anything about investing. I didn't know anything about what I wanted to do. I wanted to invest in real estate. I wanted to master that. So I'm like, hey, I think I want to buy non-performing assets. Like, I want to be different than all these other investors. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to bank conferences in a business suit and just crash them and hang out at the bar and go talk to people and see if they can point me to the right direction. That's freaking crazy. Nobody does that. I don't even know anything about the banking world. I was in the film industry. So I did that. I went in my business suit. I went in there. I'm like, hang out at the bar. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh, you're here for this conference? What do you do? Oh, what do you do? And people are like, you just came here? I'm like, yeah. They're like, do you want a job? That's amazing. I'm like, oh, I don't know. No, I don't want a job. I love what I do in the film industry. I just want to learn this. They're like, well, you should meet this person. If I had thought about it, I'd be like, you don't know these people. You don't really want to go and spend your whole weekend talking to people you don't know in a business suit. You don't want to go and call people on the phone while they're in their hotel rooms. They're meeting other people that can actually help them. You can't really even help these people. They don't want to spend their time with you. Oh, all those things could be true, right? Did I think those things? Yes, but I thought, that's not going to get me anywhere. Plus, I don't want to be somebody that is thinking about, is slow, that's going to be stopped. I don't want to be somebody that's stopped. So I would be like pushing them down. I'm just like, get on the phone. I'm like, kind of like a robot. I'm like, hello. My name's Janet Urban. I'm here at this conference to buy non-performing assets. Are you the blah, blah, blah? They're like, yes. I'm like, hey, do you want to have a meeting? Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Now, I didn't know what I was doing. Guess what? I met guys that were like, you're going to these conferences? Well, we could use you. We're looking for what you're trying to find, and we got the money. We got the experience. We'll look at this shit. We'll buy this shit. And I'm like, well, now I got everything. I'm like, give me a business card. Let's sign a contract. We did that. So I did that. So see, that's like crazy. Nobody freaking does that. Nobody just does that. But I did, because that's who I wanted to be. I'm like, I want to do film industry, but I want to be able to do a lot more than that. That was my driving force, is who I wanted to be. It wasn't about the money or what I was going to do in that. It was like, who do you want to be? So same thing for you. Now, what I'm teaching you here, that's a different way of thinking. That's kind of bold. You might be like, that's not who I am. I couldn't do that. Oh, yes, you can. You're not going to have to do that. But you're definitely going to want to grow so that nothing really bothers you too much. Nothing is that big of a deal. What does that mean for you? That's power, man. That's massive power. That's just like, hey, if there's nothing to fear, if there's nothing that's really, then what is on the table? Anything. And believe me, that's money. It's money to be able to go to a conference and just meet like hundreds of people. Just go there, ignore all the rules, go crash the meeting, crash the calls. I mean, that's like stuff they write movies about. You can do that. I did it. Maybe some of you guys have already done it. That's your strength. That stuff that you've done, does it make you strong? Does it make you feel good about yourself? Yeah, right? Maybe some stuff happened that you didn't want to have happen. And then you start focusing on that, and made you feel bad about yourself. And you're like, don't do that. Only think of how it made you stronger. Yeah, because that's how you roll. That's how you're creating this magnificent person that you are. Okay, everybody. Well, we were on a long time. All right, everybody. See you.